So I heard you had this previous guest on that didn't go so well. I think he said his name was at Elon Musk, and I just hope that I'm better than him on this podcast episode. So let's go ahead and thank you for having me, guys. I appreciate it, and let's get started from here.
Hi, I'm Willden.
And I'm Kendelle.
We are Geeks About Gaming. Howdy, y'all. How's it going? Welcome to a new episode of Geeks About Gaming. I'm Willden.
And I'm Kendelle. What's up? This week we have yet another guest, one of our good friends, Nathan. How are you?
I'm doing well, Kendall. Thank you for asking. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm doing great. You want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
There's not really much to say. I'm just a guy that really likes to play games. I've gotten into streaming lately, more of a hobby instead of trying to make it a career. Lately, I've been playing Overwatch and any of the new games that come out, but lately it's just been Overwatch. Really enjoy it, no matter how bad it gets, but that's just me. But not much to it.
No matter how bad it gets?
You know, every update always breaks something, and they're always trying to change a game. It's not Overwatch specifically; it's any game. You know, it's
true.
It's any game that comes up with updates. Like they just changed Soldier 76's gun from a spread to a recoil, so a lot of people aren't happy about that. A lot of people are happy about it. So it just, it's just one of those things. No matter what they change, I'm going to play it, whether I'm mad or not.
Yeah, but you don't play Soldier 76.
It depends. If I'm playing DPS, sometimes I do. I like to main McCree. I am a Ryan and Zarya main. So I pretty much play anybody, but I do dabble with a little bit of Soldier.
Okay, trying to seem cool. I see you.
No, I'm not that great
at it. Character.
I'm not that great at it, but I play it.
Fancy.
Haha, I see what you did there.
Well, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're actually going to start this podcast off with such a sad story.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Do you know who Brooke is? Do you know who 100 Thieves are?
I know of the group. I don't know who Brooke is specifically.
Brooke is just one of the members of 100 Thieves. She's one of the main streamers on their platform, and she took a recent break because she just came out with it on Twitter, her stalking experience. So basically for the last few months, she has kind of like stopped creating content, working on herself, because she has had a handful of people stalking her to the point where they dox her and her family's address, threatening her and her family with threats of murder, arson, bodily harm, and that's kind of crazy to me. But also, like, she's, a big person in this industry. She's very beautiful, and that's just sad that this has to happen to her because of those simple reasons. But because of all of this and how she has to deal with it, she has started a program to help individuals who need resources, for all streamers, for everyone, to just help them, because now she, she got a little dabble of the sad stalking business. And I think it's very brave of her to come out with the story, and not only that, but come with a program to help everybody else. And she's trying to change online culture. So I think that's pretty neat, but also really sad that it has to happen.
I think that is a sad story that is possibly going to turn into something really good. I do agree, that it is sad, but there is a point where you do reach a certain level of fame that's going to happen. I mean, it doesn't matter what industry you in. When you reach a certain level, it's going to happen. But when you get into something like this, it's not something that you really are expecting to happen. You're either doing this for you like the games, or maybe you are trying to make a career out of it. But when you do reach that level, it is kind of to be expected, but it is unfortunate that it is to be expected. Obviously we should be better people than this.
Mm-hmm. She had to get the FBI involved in this situation.
That is crazy. Really?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow. So I think it's good for anyone besides this is gonna sound weird. For anyone besides her, because she didn't have this, a program to help her go through this or to help her with it. So for anybody that's up and coming or that may have this problem in the future, I think it's a really good resource to have. And I'm interested to see how it is or what becomes of it. And like what would it entail? Like what is this program designed to help with that? Like,
Yeah, I wonder if it works for also people who aren't, content creators who aren't famous or a type of celebrity because like I had my own stalking experience back in 2018. I worked a awesome project and met a lot of good people, and then there's just someone in that group who clung on to me just a little too much, and it came to the point where I changed my work schedule and when my days off were because that person knew my schedule and they would just constantly wait for me and stuff. And I like this would have been great to have at that point because all I did was I didn't tell anyone like who could have helped me. All I did was change my work schedule and like told my friends to walk with me to my car. You know what I mean?
right, yeah.
So I really hope that like this program also helps people like me who don't have popularity but also just like need the resources.
Yeah, I mean, I think both of you nailed it pretty good. I mean, Nathan's right. Fortunately, this is like kind of thing that's to be expected, but also to Kendall's point as well. That's the thing with streaming. It's different. It's like, yes, of course, yeah, big names. Unfortunately, it's gonna happen. But now even like with streaming, it could be smaller names too. It could really be anybody because now you're so like feel a part of someone's life where it's, a lot of big people, you see them like at concerts or events or whatever like that, but you're still not, I mean, you're following them, but you're not still like seeing them on camera or interacting with them as much and things like that. And especially the streaming and content creation, I feel like likelihood of it is like happening more, which is kind of sad. But I think a program like this, yeah, as long as a program that helps people, no matter how big or small, I think it's something that we do need. And it's about time we need it because this is another one person too many for me.
Yeah, and it's just always gonna be that like one too many.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
Yeah,
that's true.
but she has had a lot of support. Everyone's supporting her obviously, and she's dealing it really well for going through what she went through. But moving on
Okay.
to another thing a lot of people actually don't support, a complete opposite, is the Monster Hunter trailer that came out this week. No one likes it, everyone hates it, unless you're not a Monster Hunter fan.
Oh, come on, Kendall. Come on. It's got guns and monsters and shooting things.
Yeah, have you both seen the trailer?
Okay, so I saw the trailer, and as a movie guy, I'm kind of excited about it because I've never played Monster Hunter. All right, so from an outside perspective, it looks entertaining. I mean, they made a movie based off the old game Rampage, which had nothing to do with the game Rampage. So, I mean, it can't be worse than that in terms of it, in my opinion. But I mean, for real, like in the original game Rampage, you're going around crushing buildings, and that is the purpose of it. And then it's a whole thing, all right. So not knowing anything about Monster Hunter, it looks pretty exciting. But from what I've heard, apparently, there's no guns or anything like that, and so people are kind of upset about that. But it is a movie. Can we really have high expectations for a video game movie? Like,
That's true.
No.
Can you name one good video game movie?
Sonic.
All right, I haven't seen that one, but it's on my list. I will say that.
Yeah, Sonic. But yeah, I mean, I think Nathan actually has a point there a little bit because what's interesting too about this is that, I mean, the trailer it's whatever. It didn't really grab my interest. I'm probably not gonna see it either way, just because I was never in Monster Hunter, and I'm like, I'm still not intrigued enough to see it. But it is, a movie that was supposed to come out later, and actually release date got moved up until December, because I think it was going to come out in January, which was when a lot of the Resident Evil ones came out, still the later ones. But this one got moved up to December, and I'm wondering if part of that is them thinking like, oh, all these big movies are dropping off, we have a better chance to make more money in December, and they know, hey, look, whatever you say about the Resident Evil movies, you can either hate them all, like them all, or like me, like some, don't like some as much, or whatever. But again, they still made their money, no matter how bad you consider them. They always made a decent amount of money. And having Mila Djokovic, another video game movie, I'm sure, hopefully, I would think some of that audience would transfer over to this movie. So having like that audience and then putting it December, I think increases the highest chance it's going to have to like make money, however much that is. Because it could be also they show, we don't have that confidence really in this movie, so now we'll move it here because all the big movies are on, and then we'll just kind of take advantage and make as much money as we can off of it. But it's a team that's made video game movies before, and those drew in a certain audience, and I'm sure a lot of those people, not all of them played the Resident Evil games and they liked them. So
I think you're on the right track because of, I don't know if you guys saw it, the World of Warcraft film that came out like 2016.
Yeah, I remember that movie.
Yeah, it made
somewhat enjoyed it.
Like its box office numbers were so low in America, but internationally it made such great money. And I think that's what they're doing with this movie. Like Chinese theaters just opened up, and I think Warcraft did great there, and they're hoping that this movie's going to do great there as well.
That makes sense. I mean, I was a little surprised that you said that they moved up the date of it. I mean, it looks like a fun action, like kind of survival movie, but I wonder if part of it, or how can I phrase this? I wonder if people would be more accepting of it if it had a different cast in it. Like, all right, going back, I don't want to make another Rampage reference, but all right, so like, let's say if The Rock or Dwayne Johnson or whatever you want to call him these days is in this movie, okay? That's the typical movies that he kind of makes, like these fun, action-packed, they're never really great movies, but they're entertaining. Do you think people would be more receptive? Just a question. Do you think they'd be more receptive of it being off of the script material?
100%. Like if John Cena was in this movie, I'm sure people would watch it just because he's in it. So
Okay.
I think you also are right that like maybe this is not going to be as successful because the director obviously wanted his known star to be in this film,
Right. No, I get that. And but that's like I said, that's just a question for me in terms of, would that have made this movie more successful just by having one of these larger action-packed kind of people in there that are known for making entertaining movies that necessarily aren't of always great quality,
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Go ahead. No, I was gonna say I'll probably go see it one way or another. I'll probably end up watching.
I'm gonna go see it. 100%.
I don't know if I don't know if so I'm gonna go see it, but maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll see what's on release. I mean, he did make Mortal Kombat, the first one, and that one was like, as far as video games go, that was like one of my personal favorites for even till now for a while, and it's that director combo, right? If you get him and you get her, and they've been doing this for a while, so I think you're right. Like, for those that didn't like all the stuff that they've done in the past with Resident Evil and all that, if you had somebody else different, I think grab more people. I think it would help if they had like slightly less guns or so, but even then, I mean, you could always make a movie better to a certain extent with stuff like that, I guess. But okay. Again, it's like, I don't know how many people, I mean, I know people know movies that Paul S. Anderson made, but I don't know how many of the general public go, oh, Paul W.S. Anderson movie, I gotta see that. I don't know, even though he's been in the game for 20 plus years.
Now, I want to ask one quick question for anybody that's listening that it might be in my state that's never played Monster Hunter and has seen the trailer. Is the biggest grievance of this movie the guns?
You know what? As a person who has played the franchise and is interested in this movie to some extent, there is like a gun-like weapon in the game, but obviously not what they have in the trailers. My biggest hang-up is that it's a very fish out of water film where they're taking us, current situation, current world and timeline, and then having some storm like transport them to some mystical world of giant monsters. That's my hang up, because like, why couldn't we just have a fish out of water of like someone in that world going to a different island
Okay.
or something like that?
So
Like,
you would
why did it
rather
have to be so relatable to our war scene? And I don't know.
I get it. So you would rather it either be its own separate universe or possibly take the route that Kong Skull Island did, and it's still here, but maybe it's in its own separate like island, something like
Yeah.
that. Okay.
Because there's no such thing like that in the franchise where like regular people, or you're not even a regular person who got transported to this weird parallel universe. Like, I don't know. It's just not on point. It's not the IP of the franchise.
I get it. Like I said, I was just curious. I wasn't really sure. But I've never played the game, so it's hard for me to make an assumption or hate it or love it either way because of that. So not knowing, it looks like a fun film, but
It does look fun. I will admit to that.
So, but that's all. Thank you for answering the question.
And if you, listening audience, have an opinion, go ahead and put that right in the comments. We would love to hear your thoughts.
So what's next on the agenda then?
Oh my god, are you into Super Smash Bros, Nathan?
I love Super Smash Bros. I have played it since it's first come out. The only one that I wasn't a really big fan of was the one on the Wii U, and that was very short-lived anyway. But yeah, I'm big into Super Smash Brothers. Why do you ask?
Yeah, you big into Minecraft?
Not so much big into Minecraft. I view it as Legos for adults. You can do anything you want.
It's good.
But I see its purpose. I see the entertainment in it. I'm just not that big into it.
Yeah.
I've played it. I've put hours into it, but it's
That's
not
so
one of my.
funny.
It's not one of my go-tos.
Have you played the new update with Steve in Smash Bros?
I have not.
Oh my god, it's so funny.
It just seems so out of place to me.
It is out of place, 100%.
When I saw the news break, I honestly couldn't help but laugh. Because, we've had, weird characters come in before, like Solid Snake. That's really kind of out there. But it does kind of fit. He's a operative. He knows close quarter combat, or CQC, as they called it in Metal Gear Solid. Minecraft, I just feel like that's a stretch. More of a stretch than Metal Gear.
Where's my Sora? Where's Sora?
Wait, okay. Willden, and you know this, I'm a huge Kingdom Hearts fan, but let's get one thing straight. How are they going to add Steve from Minecraft as a playable character and the Enderman and all that is with the different skins before they make Waluigi a playable character?
I know. Yeah, that's true.
Well,
Waluigi.
I can handle not having other, DLC, but it just seems so out of place. And you know what it is? It's one big franchise, getting another big franchise or the biggest franchise to help them make more money. Because you got people who like Minecraft, they're going to buy it. I don't want to say it's a cash grab because I don't necessarily think it is, because it might be just a more fun add-in because they don't do these things randomly. But yeah, it's so absurd.
I mean,
it's not as absurd as Steve's winning screen on Super Smash Bros.
I haven't seen that.
He's holding his pickaxe right.
He's holding something all right.
It's just looks okay. Nathan, it looks like his penis.
I was gonna say I can see where that's going.
It literally, the shape of it and where it's placed literally looks like an erection.
Jeez.
and in the winning screens and the victory poses, they move, they go side to side, and he flaps his arms up and down.
Oh God.
With it moves,
That's what we used to say about Butcher Pete. He'd be chomping that meat, all right.
Wow.
It's so poorly done. No one knows who approved this.
Now, I want to go, all right, so I said that this is a far reach, right? I've been very clear on my statement about this. You know, like they did it, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with it. I really don't. You know, it's kind of funny, but it's so misplaced. But the amount of work they had to do to add this character, it's not like any other character where they can just go make a character, add some moves, and then throw into the game. Do you know what they had to do to add Steve into this game? Are you aware of the
No.
changes they had to make? They had to go into every level of the game and redesign it so that you can add blocks to the map. Because
Oh my
before, that
god.
wasn't even a possibility. So they had to go and redo some of their previous work to make it adjustable to fit this character in there. That seems like a lot more work than is necessary for a DLC character. And that's just me.
That scrambles my brain because have you seen you know when you're like on the edge of a map and you have like a tilt with the character that looks like they're about to fall off?
Yep.
He doesn't
Mm.
have one.
Hmm.
He when on the edge of this when he's on the edge of a level when he literally just like bends over, makes like I don't like an upside down J and just looks off at the bottom. He doesn't move at all. Like you can't like honestly I can't tell if he's on the edge or not because he's just standing there looking away.
That's oh man.
It's just funny because it's like a Nintendo who's all about family content, family, and then nobody at one point thought, maybe we should do something different, or it just nobody caught this.
I know they're like
For
let's get younger kids to play Smash and let's add
Yeah.
a Minecraft character and then
this
here it
isn't
is.
Xbox or this is Sony or Microsoft. This is Nintendo, which is all about family, everyone. Kids, Minecraft, kids, trolley kids on Minecraft. I'm sure they'll find it funny, but still.
But you know, it wasn't, and I'm gonna hold to this. This might not be true, but Nintendo didn't make this decision on their own.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna believe that somebody from Minecraft came to them with the idea, and they thought about it, and they thought if it was possible, and they talked it over. I don't think they just said, you know what would be fun? Let's add Steve into this and see if they will agree to let us use the rights. I am more inclined to believe, and like I said, I could be wrong, that they were approached with the idea.
Yeah, probably money was involved.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's just my thinking.
And we want this to be his victory pose in the winning screen.
I'm gonna have to look that up. That's
It's so
too
good.
funny.
It's so good. I want to send you a link so bad.
I'll send me one afterwards. I'll take a look after. So.
Oh, that's
It's
funny.
So good.
All right.
That's funny. Well, talking about more about game side of things. So Sega's 60th anniversary, guys. 60 years.
Now, Willden, are
Of
you
Sega.
60 years old? Or
I'm halfway there.
okay,
Oh,
so
God.
okay. So I was just curious if you were there when Sega started, but that clarifies.
Yes, along in Japan. Yes, when I used to live in Japan. Yeah, yeah. So what they did is they're having an anniversary on Steam and stuff like that. So with that, they're announcing some new games to be released. With that, three new games. One of them is an unpublished Golden Axe game, which started as a proof of concept and all that. It's gonna be called Golden Axe, and it's like a single level, and it's gonna be free on Steam. And then there's Armor of Heroes, which is a tank game, battle game based on the Company of Heroes, which is one of their popular franchises. But then the most one that's more interest, at least to me specifically, is this new game called Streets of Kamurocho, which is a 2D mashup similar to like Streets of Rage, and they're taking that of the Yakuza series and making a 2D brawler game out of it. And it's got like old school 16-ish bit graphics. It has to do with Kiryu's adoptive brother, and it's basically sort of a loose remake of the first game, sort of. And it's made by the people who made like Dead Island, Final Fantasy 15, Empty Clip Studios. They made like 2D demakes of those games. And yeah, it's coming out, and it's also gonna be free as well, guys. It's gonna be free, a free 2D UI because you can play Majima. So I'm excited. I'm excited.
The only thing that you can play as is there. You just named one thing, so that you like. Yeah, I was just curious. You were like, you could play as whatever you said. I can't pronounce it, and then you pause. So I was wondering if like is that a character or is that a
Yeah? So Kiryu's like the main character of most of the franchise, except for the new one, and Majima's like a fan favorite kind of secondary character that you can play. Now it looks like, according to the one image I'm looking at here, just as like with the Streets of Rage and a game like this, usually you can have 2, sometimes 3 or 4 characters on screen at once. The image I'm looking at now, it looks like there's at least 3 that you can play as.
So they haven't really said who is playable in that game.
From the images, they've confirmed Kiryu and Majima. There's a third one, but they haven't confirmed who the third one is.
Okay. Like, I've always liked these kind of style games to me. Like the Simpsons arcade game, love the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game. Love that one. You know, like they're very basic, but they're fun. They're basically just button mashing games, but you know, they're entertaining and they're a good way to pass the time. And I've had some good memories playing them in an actual arcade. So that's something that I might end up getting and playing with one of y'all.
Yeah, and it's free. I mean, like, why not? You know, Kendall, is this something that you would pick up and give? And it does feel natural, right? The franchise is based around brawling for the most part. It's kind of like, oh, you know, yeah, sort of.
Yeah, it doesn't seem that too far out there.
And I like what Nathan said. I agree with it. It like, you know, I used to play these games like back in arcades, and it looks very arcadey. It looks very nostalgic to that era, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just because it says it's based on the verse game events loosely, but I wonder like how long it is. I wonder if it might be the average length of one of those games. You know, it's not too long, but you know they'll have like, it depends. It could be like 5 to 8 levels or something like that, and you know, it's like I'm curious how long like the basic beats of the story, like how long that would kind of take to go through without all the extra stuff. And you know, because those Yakuza games, they go on for a minute and they have all the stuff that happens. So I'm curious to how they condense that.
This one is free, so you never really know if they put a lot of time into it.
That's true. That's definitely
true. Or they're gonna add like DLC later that you could buy or something. I don't
know. That's a possibility too. But that's super exciting.
Excuse me. I have one question that is the biggest question of all time to me regarding this game. And that is, if you die in the game with a partner or even by yourself, are you going to get a notification that says insert token to continue? You know, it's got the graphics, it's got the side-scrolling action. I mean, it would fit the bill perfectly to me. And honestly, that would make it great. As funny as it would be, you know, in this day and age, I think that would be a great edit. Just something subtle like that.
That's a really good question, too, because now you got me thinking. I'm trying to remember with, like, the newest Streets of Rage that just came out, or like even Scott Pilgrim when that came out. I'm trying to remember if those had that in the game.
Yeah, and like throughout the game, you like pick up coins or something.
You know, that'd be interesting too. You know, as a way of getting like an extra life in Mario with the green mushrooms.
That would be so cool.
That would be a pretty cool addition. You know, because when you go back and play those old games on like an emulator or you know, just I know like the Nintendo Switch has some that you can go get. When you die and you go and you have to insert the token, it's just a free life. Like you can just continue as much as you want. There's no set number of lives. So if they were to incorporate like you picking up a token in the game in order to continue, I think that would make it a little bit more challenging for the player to not be able to continue as much as they want. You know, it adds an intensity of I don't want to lose because then I've lost all my progress.
Yeah.
Unless there's a save feature, but who knows?
Yeah, and that's the other thing too, because I know at least with like Streets of Rage, it's like it starts you at the beginning of the level. You have to go through the whole level again.
So
Yeah, that's a fair point. But that's coming, and it's, by the time that this podcast gets released, these games should be available to get off of Steam now. And it's cool what some Sega's doing. Also, I want to know too, I discovered also that I believe it's Sonic 2 is also free on Steam right now. One of the Sonic games. Yeah.
That's a pretty big one.
Yeah. I think it was 2. Yeah, so I got that already, so make sure to grab that too. But it's crazy too, just think Sega's been around 60 years, and it makes me more sad because they took away that Sega store that's, really famous for Tokyo and all that, and that's something I wanted to see, but I'll never be able to see it, and then it's like, man, it's just crazy to me.
All right. Well, I got one question for you regarding this before we move on. You said by the time this podcast is released that they should be available to pick up. My question, as me who is listening now, when would this be available? Just for the record.
Oh, okay. So the game is going to be free on Steam starting tomorrow and will only be available for the weekend.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Crazy.
There you go. Yeah. Okay. There you go. And then to continue, we're going to get to some hardcore now game company related stuff. A lot of game company related news is happening. So we're going to start off with our whole Roy's at Microsoft here. So this whole Bethesda thing happened. They acquired Bethesda. We've heard and they confirmed they are, as part of that deal, they are saying we're still having our Deathloop exclusive to PlayStation and Ghostwire Tokyo. That's still happening. That's still coming to PlayStation. But as far as after that goes, we haven't really got a full clear answer. We've kind of heard before that'd be a case-by-case basis and things like that. But Phil Spencer recently in an interview was asked, hey, are you gonna still sell games on the PlayStation because you spend a lot of money, you would probably need to sell everywhere you can to get that money back, especially if people are gonna pay full price. And he was like, no, not really. And so he was kind of basically saying that you would think that, but since our whole thing is putting the game on so many devices and stuff like that, we're gonna be fine. Because we're having all these devices anyway, and having PlayStation is not going to help us out as much more as you think it would be. And essentially, he's saying, even if we do put a game on PlayStation, more than likely you're going to still be able to get cheaper through Game Pass and all that anyway. So at that point, even if you're a PlayStation person, there's no real sense of you going oh, well, why would I pay for this full price here? I would just go to Xbox anyway. And that's kind of his thought process for this thing. So he's still not saying never. It could still be a case-by-case basis, but as far as bigger games and things like that, it seems more likely that they probably won't be on PlayStation. And I was curious to what your guys' thoughts on this. If he's partly kind of being yeah, he's saying that, but when the bigger ones come out, they'll still probably be on PlayStation. I think what's going to happen is that there's even though he's saying that we'll still see a Fallout or an Elder Scrolls or a Starfield on PlayStation, but the smaller ones like a Wolfenstein or an Evil Within or something, we won't see that on PlayStation. That's kind of why I think they're going to do, even though he's still saying we're mostly not going to do PlayStation. I mean, what do you guys think about this, about him saying, we don't need PlayStation, we're pretty much okay?
It sounds confident to me.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I mean, if you did, on one hand, I get it. It's how are you going to keep that money back? But at the same time, it's you did spend a lot of money for keeping it, why would you spend that much to then share it?
Would you like to go first on this, Kendall, or would you like me to go first?
You can go first. Go ahead.
Okay, I felt like I've been going first every time. I don't want to hog the
you're our
reaction here.
guest.
Well, thank you for having me. So I think, as a business perspective, I don't think it's the best idea to have the exclusives only to Microsoft for these bigger games what is it, Starfield, I believe the name of it is, and stuff like that. And the reason for me on this is Xbox or Microsoft does not really put too much concern with their new next gen console. Their big thing is the Game Pass, correct? You can play it on Xbox, you can play it on PC, either or. That has been their primary focus. And this may have changed recently, but the last that I saw, next gen pre sales, 80% of the next generation pre sales of the consoles were PlayStation. And, games from Bethesda before, Oblivion, Skyrim, things like that, they have a huge, huge following. And they are sold. They started on Xbox 360 and PS3, and they've gone on to PS4 and the Xbox One. Like, people still buy these games over and over. And now you're going to be taking out a large portion of people that may not have the access to the Xbox or a PC, and they might only be PlayStation. Now, I get it. They are Microsoft. Sony's a competitor. And, I get that portion of it. But I think for bigger titles, ones that fans were really looking forward to, that are big Bethesda fans, I think it would be more of a mistake to have it only on Microsoft, especially since they don't really care about their next gen console as much as Sony does because of their Game Pass. And while they do have a point, well, it will be cheaper here and there. You can play it on multiple things. Not everybody has that. Now, I could see. Now, he does sound pretty confident when he says no, but that may change depending on the amount of money that they might think they make, or their projections. They might not make it. Who knows? But I'm going to have to agree with her on this. It sounds to me like it's probably not going to happen. Not unless they start losing money drastically based against their projections.
You said exactly what I was thinking, but I feel like he's saying it confidently because this is one of the cheaper ways to handle it. They did spend, I don't know if you know this, Nathan, 7.5 billion for
I
this.
wish I had that kind of money.
I know, right? It's kind of crazy.
I'd buy
they acquired it for 7.5 billion. So maybe they are trying to do things on the cheaper side or something. But it does feel confident that we're not going to see it on the PlayStation, and that it is just going to be a Game Pass thing, a Microsoft thing. And I'm pretty sure they're banking on people who have Game Pass. They're banking on people who have a PC, banking on people who have an Xbox.
And that would really upset me because, I'm not going to say I'm pro, Sony and, anti Microsoft, because I'm not. I like games no matter what console they are. Now, I prefer having PlayStations. So if I wasn't able to get a game that I was looking forward to because of this, I would be a bit upset. I'd find a way to play it, sure, eventually, maybe. But, I think that's going to upset a lot of people if they did that. But again, they're going to get over it. They're going to get over it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel torn because, I'm more of a PlayStation guy, and I don't plan on getting an Xbox, but to know at some points, if I want to play all these Bethesda games, I'm going to have to force myself to upgrade my PC at some point, to make that work, and it's just, would be nice to be able to just load it up on the console, but...
Now, with Microsoft acquiring Bethesda, is that going to put a halt on any productions that they have going on right now? Like, is that going to put even if it's just like a week or two, any postponement to games such as Starfinder that have been in production for God knows how long?
That's a good question, because again, he's like, the time exclusivity deals are still in effect, and they're gonna honor those deals. I don't know. That's a good question.
I'm sure, yeah, but I'm sure you do. But I'm sure it does halt like minor projects that maybe the public doesn't even know about. Like they pushed future developments and whatnot. But like bigger games, I'm sure they still have to move forward with them.
Yeah, because even in this quote, like he mentions like we haven't ruled out the idea of Elder Scrolls 6 or Starfield coming to other platforms.
That was actually going to be my next question. Was Elder Scrolls 6? And if you think that they maybe put their focus more into that, or if they eased off it with the acquisition. But it's good to know that the possibility is still there for those games. And being how new this is, I could see games like that being put on the PlayStation because, like I said, there's a huge market for it. It's gone across multiple generations of consoles. And for, like I said, at the time when I saw it, 80% of pre-orders for next gen being Sony, I mean, that's a lot of money. That is a lot of money. Even if it's just a digital release, that is a lot of money to be lost,
Mm,
whether you go cheap or not. It's just lost revenue.
hmm.
Things to think about.
Yeah. Good lord, now I'm thinking about Fall New Vegas and all that jazz. But anyway, we can continue this conversation more, but we're gonna move on to another studio related topic. So, um, Lab Zero Games. They made this game called The Indivisible. It's a game I've seen on Game Pass. I haven't played it. I've heard it's a game. It's got okay-ish reviews. It's not like the best game out there, but there's fans and stuff on it. It originally started like as a Kickstarter and things of that sort. And
I
they've
like
been
okay
working on it.
reviews.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Games with okay reviews. They're pretty okay.
Yeah, they're pretty okay.
Yeah,
They're
they're
okay.
fine. They're okay.
They're fine. But anyway, so they've been working on like new developments for the game, including like bringing it to Switch, New Game Plus, co-op, and all that sort, and a new update that's supposed to be coming out fairly soon. But they decided after all that they're going to halt production on the game. They're not going to make new content on it, including guest characters or back or created characters that people were promised were going to come to the game are not coming to the game. And all this basically has to do with the tie-in that the head of the studio had things brought up about him. He had resigned earlier because there was like inappropriate behavior. You know, the things we've been hearing a lot recently, unfortunately, with like sexual comments and misconduct and things of that sort. Multiple employees resigned. I'm sorry. So he saw the studio, but multiple employees had resigned from that. So the studio itself isn't closing down. But a lot of people that left the studio have made a new studio that's called Future Club that's going to seem to kind of carry on that tradition. So I don't know what's the future of the studio is going to be after this. Now they haul Indivisible. I don't know. I'm assuming they're going to have some sort of other game coming out, but I wonder if that game's even going to do well because people are going to be mad that Kickstarter support and they didn't get what they were promised at the end of the day and things like that. How do you guys feel about this whole Indivisible thing?
Kendall, why don't you take the reins on this one first?
Oh, thank you. So it does sadden me because Indivisible was a game, they even said themselves, of diversity, inclusion, friendship. And as a person who has backed a lot of Kickstarters, it's sad to put money in something that will not happen. And, you had a lot of hope for it. You invested in it, and to just have the project come to a halt, your money is obviously going to come back to you if it was Kickstarted and whatnot. But it's just so sad that it has to happen this way because of the behaviors and the misconduct of one individual. And it's like there's so much more that could happen with this game. And I don't know. I just want to say I hate that people, one person and their actions can just kind of like dismantle a
An
whole
entire
project.
corporation? Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. You see it in this industry, you see it in other industries. There's a culture and people tend to ignore it until they've had enough. And once they've had enough, at that point, it's too late to put a stop to it. It's not like you can, if you catch it, if you snip it early, I don't think this would be a problem. The employees would have resigned. I think it's a matter of, and I know people don't want to do it. They're scared. There's reasons for it. But if this is something that I don't want to say is easily avoidable because it's not easily avoidable, but it is avoidable if you take action on it. So yeah, it's definitely sad. I think, and there's really no way. It's not like you can give a background check and be like, "Is this person a sleazeball?" Like you can't really do that. But you definitely want to build a nice culture, and it takes one person to ruin that. And it's sad to see that. So I agree with you. It's sad and it's happening. We see it happening more and more frequently in the industry coming to light regarding different companies.
Yeah, honestly, it's very similar to the whole Harry Potter situation. Like J.K. Rowling's whole life project, Harry Potter, coming out with the game, newer books, newer movies, and she's ending up being a terrible person that no one really likes, but they still want to support Harry Potter because they love the world she created. but they hate her. Maybe we should start treating things like that for games that we know and love and know that they could have a good impact on society. Should we support it, or should we try to separate it, or should we just put them all in like one circle and just shove it all out the window? It's like,
I mean, I don't know. What do you think, Nathan? I mean, I feel that's gonna be a whole nother discussion on itself that we could get going on.
It is. It is a completely different discussion that can go on for a long time. All right. Now, my point of this was more of a question of morality, of what each individual person believes personally. Now, for something like that, where they make good content, but you don't like that person, clearly you don't have to support them. But we live in a day and age where we are supposed to be allowed to express our own individual, ideas and thoughts and opinions, and you don't necessarily have to agree. So being that, we'll take Harry Potter, for example, you don't have to like J.K. Rowling. Did I say that right? Did I say her name right?
Yeah.
You don't have to like her as a person, but you can like her product. So you might not want to support her, but you shouldn't let her different ideals stop you from enjoying what you like. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but also it's like not even her project or even like the head of Lab Zero Games. There's so many people underneath, the developers and people who just helped in this project, that also deserve recognition for what they've done.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think Willden asked the question, and I might have maybe misunderstood the question, but I think when he first asked it, he asked, what does the company go from here? And I like to think of it back to one of my favorite video games of all time, Harvest Moon: Back to Nature.
Mm.
Oh, that's a pull.
Yes. So Harvest Moon, those games were made by what was it? Natsume and I think that was the main creators. That and Marvelous Entertainment and Victor Interactive Software. Okay. Now, years later, there was a split between the companies. Now, the main people held the title of Harvest Moon. So they kept creating Harvest Moon games. However, they didn't feel like a Harvest Moon game. The people that actually made the game and put it into it, they're the ones that left and created another series in a different production stage. And so we still get Harvest Moon titles, but they're nowhere near as good as they used to be, okay, in my opinion. Now, we have the people that were the heart and soul of those Harvest Moon games went and created their own company. And because they can't use the name Harvest Moon anymore, they decided to call their new games Story of Seasons. And they've been making games that are different art styles and whatnot, but it's basically the same, it's the same premise, build a farm, get crops, sell it. Yeah. But it's more heart and soul. And I think that going back to the original topic with this Indivisible, I think we'll see something similar to there, where they will probably still be making games as the original company, and it might not have the same feel to them. And that's not to say they're not good games, but it's not what you're used to from that company. And you said they've already gone and started their own other development company, right? So I think we'll see the games that those producers or those game developers were making, the heart and soul of the games that they were passionate about. I feel we'll find that in their titles, regardless of what the name is.
Mm-hmm.
The name is just a title. That's all it is.
Yeah. We'll have like Harvest Moon turn from Story of Seasons, Friends of Mineral Town, probably similar to what Indivisible is going to happen. Instead of Indivisible, it's going to be Invisible. No, I'm kidding.
Character.
Yeah. Think of yeah, for sure. It's gonna be interesting to see where it goes from here. And then now to shift that over, that's somewhat related, but a different turn of events for different reasons. Level 5 is basically shut down for the most part, shut down their location in the U.S. that they have here in L.A. Apparently, this was something people were kind of seeing come in. They started kind of working the Skeleton Crew last year. For those of you who know Level 5, they make games such as Ni no Kuni, Dark Cloud, which some people are like, oh crap, Dark Cloud, Professor Layton, which are, if you haven't played a Professor Layton game, those are kind of fun. Rogue Galaxy, all these games that people do like. There's a fan base for these Japanese kind of RPG-ish sort of games. I'm a fan of some of these. Even did Yokai Watch. I've never played those, but I've seen advertised that. I don't know. I'm about you, Kendall, but I feel like I've been to a lot of cons where I've seen that advertised in a lot of places. But yeah, they're shut down, and so the idea is they're not being super clear about it, but it seems to be the indication that they're not just like shutting down here or like kind of halting like self-publishing here, but that they're almost considering not really doing any more Western releases at all, which means if they do make a sequel to some of these games, there is a chance that we might not see them or have the sequels to these games or anything like that. So they're cutting that down. What do you guys think about level 5 chopping it down and potential that the Western side might not get any more games from them or as many games anymore?
I definitely saw it coming. Like you saw in the last maybe year that they kept laying people off from their company, and you already knew from just marketing that they're self-publishing in Western area is just like not good. It's not never successful, and I can see them no longer having rights in the U.S. because of just how poor it's been here. And if people really want to play it, because I know a lot of people love Ni no Kuni, they could always just get a copy from over there, and then like it won't be in English, but like I know people who play games like that anyway.
Yeah, I mean that's a fair point too, because it's not like any of these games are bad games. For the most part, most of these games people really like. They're really solid games.
Yeah, like I'm a big fan of Professor Layton, but I mean I couldn't tell you the last time I played one of those games. I couldn't even tell you the last time one of them was made. But to me, they're fun. There's a story to it. It's puzzling. It makes you think. As far as the operations shutting down over here in the West, I think it's honestly not that uncommon. You know, it's
Especially with this time of year, like it tracks with just quarantine and everyone kind of losing jobs right now.
I think that could probably be a big factor into it as well. I mean, but I've seen other video games that they're pretty popular, but they don't sell as well over here. And I'm not saying there's not their games didn't sell, but it was clearly better elsewhere, and so they just quit publishing games. Quit publishing games over here because it wasn't as costly, or it wasn't as not costly. What's the word I'm looking for? It wasn't as for the lack of a better word at the moment, we'll say efficient. For them to publish it, ship it, and put it out over here. But I think Kendall's right. I mean, it's nothing stopping them from getting a copy from overseas. And like she said, people play games with just Japanese subtitles or whatever it does, or just in Japanese. If they wanted to play the game, they'll find a way. And something like that, as much as I hate to say it, they could probably somebody's going to pirate it into an English version eventually.
Yeah.
There will be a way for them to play it. I don't see, like I said, it's a common occurrence. I don't see it being that big of a deal long term, but it like most things, it would upset some people for sure.
Yeah. No, that's definitely a fair point. Yeah, it's weird. I'm like a little heartbroken about, but again, it's not. It's not like I'm losing Bethesda, never Western Bethesda release or something. So yeah, but yeah, you guys got fair points. I think it makes sense, business wise why they're doing it and things like that. Yeah, we know they've been going down. It's just unfortunate. It always sucks when you lose a little bit something like that over here, but hopefully we'll be able to still find a way to get games and stuff from it. To move on to our final big topic discussion. Speaking of PlayStation, it's already been brought up earlier, but Kendall, stuff's happening over at PlayStation. We went talk about the UI and all that stuff, but before that, some details about Spider-Man got released, and people are going crazy over it. Why are people going crazy over the Spider-Man stuff, Kendall?
Because of Spider-Cat, Spider-Cat, Spider Cat. Okay, so Spider-Man, Miles Morales, they, showed us the best thing in the world, and it's a Spider Cat sidekick. Somewhere in the game, you rescue a cute little feline. It hangs out in your backpack. You have a little Spider Cat suit, and then because of
Aww.
that, oh, it's so cute. And even because of that, during one of his awesome fight scenes, special attacks at the very end, this Spider Cat has a mask on and pummels that person's face, your opponent's face. It is part of his finishing move. This Spider Cat is literally a part of his finishing move. It's so cute, and it wears a little mask.
That's pretty great. I have to say, it's pretty great.
Yeah.
Again, Phil Spencer's got Bethesda, but hey, you don't have a Spider-Man cat, do ya?
Yeah. Do you have a Spider-Man cat that just leaps on someone's face? I don't think so.
I know I don't. I wouldn't mind one, but I think I'd be too allergic to it to actually pull it off.
So, Nathan, how are you about these Miles Morales stuff and all what's going on?
So look, the first Spider-Man was great. Miles Morales has his place in comics, being a half African-American, half Hispanic character. I'm all for the inclusion of this character. To me, and from what I've heard, it's not going to be a major installment in the franchise. It's going to be more of like the Last of Us side missions with like Ellie, or the Uncharted Legacies with I can't think
Nathan
of their names
Drake?
right now. Well, not them, but there's a side game with two women from the game, and I can't think of their names
yeah,
right
I know
now.
what you're talking about. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna be more than one of those. I'm all pumped. I'm all excited. Miles Morales. I'm curious to see how they're gonna include Peter Parker into this game. Is he gonna like be training you along the way? Because it takes place a year later. But I'm pumped for it. I love the first one. It's similar to a Batman Arkham game, with the combat styles, almost Assassin's Creed-like to me. People will argue that it's not. But, to me, it's similar. The basic combinations, timing of everything. I really enjoy these
high
games.
heights.
Exactly. I enjoy these games, and the first one ran so smooth. I don't see why anyone would have a problem with this game on any basis. I know people don't like it when they convert characters from one, like gender, or when they gender swap or they race swap. That's not the case here. So, I mean, it's a very well-known character in the Marvel universe, getting his own game that was introduced in another game that was great. This game, as short as it may be, should be great. It should actually be. It should be just as good as the other one.
And luckily, we are hearing way more positive reviews and outcomes, more than negative, on this game. So that's pretty awesome. It's well deserved from what I hear.
I mean, it's got a spider cat.
Those suits too, guys. Like, I mean, because apparently the thing with the cat's considered a suit, technically, but then also that Daft Punk, the cyber looking. Oh, dude, that looks so dope.
So do you mean it is a suit as in the first game you have to unlock different costume? Okay, so it's okay, cool. Well, it's an interesting feature.
Yeah, it does seem like it's going to be in part with the storyline where you have to go to the bodega where the cat is, save the cat, you put the cat in your backpack, boom, release skin.
Now, is the cat of any importance in the comics? Or is it just a random spider cat for fun?
That I actually don't know. I don't remember of there being a cat, but I could be wrong.
But I do know a lot of people are trying to make theories based off the color of this cat, which is orange, which is the cat that has been seen in a lot of Captain Marvel comics, and even was in the movie.
Okay. Yep, I know.
So a lot of people are trying to, people are trying to, connect it, but also they're in New York. There are cats all over the streets. I am from New York, and I can tell you that every bodega will have just a stray cat and its family.
I'm gonna assume it's just a cat.
I hope it's not a cat. I don't want them to make anything big of it.
I don't think. Yeah, I think you're right, Kendall. Because I've heard a lot of people from New York are like, "Yeah, this is a very New York thing to have. It's cool."
It's only because this cat is orange that people are trying to make, a connection.
Now, just to talk about the game a little bit more, the villain of this game is the villain that we see a villain that we see in the Into the Spider-Verse movie, correct? It is his
Yes.
uncle that you are fighting. Yeah, I think, especially with the popularity of that movie and they're making a second one, I love that movie. That was a great movie. The soundtrack on it was fantastic. The graphics and animation was fantastic.
Yeah.
There's so much about that movie that was good. I think the success of that movie honestly helped bring this into fruition.
Oh, 100%.
So yeah, I think it'd be pretty cool to see Miles in his own thing, fighting his uncle. I mean, I don't have any hate against my uncle, but if he had superpowers and I had superpowers, we duking it out. We duking it out.
Uncle, let's meet on the basketball court.
Right. Meet me there at noon.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're right. The Prowler, and and then they have they have a group called the Underground. It's like the new gang. There's gonna be 2 organizations, and then we've got, of course, the Tinkerer as a villain, which seems to be a female version. Which in the MCU we've gotten a male version of the Tinkerer, and then I think I saw somewhere maybe Rhino as well. So not as many villains.
Voiced by Paul Giamatti.
Oh gosh, I hope so. Well, no, he wasn't voiced. I mean, he was in the first one, so it would have been great if he was though. But again, I think you got a fair point. I mean, that's why these big rumors of this big, between this and then you have the DC Universe cross, thing they're doing, and then now Marvel's doing it, and then now the big rumors of the Spider-Man cinematic crossover thing is a big thing. I think you're right. I think that whole Into the Spider-Verse was a huge factor in all these things, and it's great. It's a great movie, and I'm glad all this stuff's happened as a result of it.
I was gonna say, with this, if this game is a blockbuster hit, do you think that they will continue on with a Miles Morales franchise along with a Peter Parker franchise? Or do you think it'll just be held as a one-off, or maybe they'll kill Peter Parker later on and Miles Morales will take off? What are your thoughts about this? If this is a huge blockbuster hit, which I assume it will be.
Good question. I feel like they're gonna tie him into the main series somehow.
Okay. I mean, technically, they already did,
Right. Well, yeah, you're right. They did. But I feel like if you're gonna play as him again, I think instead of doing another standalone, he's gonna be either one of the main characters in the numbered franchise, or something's gonna happen, or it's gonna be split between him and Peter or something like that.
Could be a character swap. Choose which character you want to play as at the time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It could be part of the story where you first half you're him, you're him. They're both hims.
First half you're him, second half you're him.
You're him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, again,
that's all.
Yeah, no, that's a fair question. I think you're right. I think this game's gonna do well, and I feel like they're gonna, if they do it right, though, he's he's as big of a character as Peter is. He needs more than just a spin-off game. I think this is gonna be a test. If this does really well, then this is gonna kind of determine where to go.
Maybe one day we'll get a Blade game.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, dude! I'm so down. I'm ready. Give me that. Give me Punisher. I'll take all of it. And speaking of PlayStation, something that even me, PlayStation people, something we've been waiting a while for is what is the UI going like? What is this user interface go like? And we all been talking for a while. We're like, Sony, it's getting close. Are you gonna tell us anything or not? What the fudge is going on? It's taking a long time. We got nothing. Well, finally, they gave us some info. They came out with a little video explaining the experience. We have a new control center. We have new accessibility chat features. Basically, ways for you to be able to access stuff within the game without having to turn off the game. Or you can go to different portions of the game that you're working on. It tells you the percentage of whatever current quest or portion you're working on. Even some games, if you're not sure what to do, you can go and look at a video that kind of helps you how to do it without having to go to YouTube or anything like that. A whole bunch of new stuff, taking photos, talking with chats, things of that sort. New, slightly different home screen. And the idea of just the video of how fast you switch between games or to certain parts of games and certain levels.
I'm going to stop you right here. I want to say I don't think it was worth the wait. I think they could have shown us this before they even revealed what the PlayStation would look like. Like, I don't know. I think it's
I
so
don't even
necessary.
I don't even think they need to announce it. Just wait till it comes out. On it, like,
I just
did
like
they do a user interface for PS3? Like, I honestly don't know. Like, did they do that for the PS3? Did they do that for the PS4?
yeah, I
I
think
don't
they made it
recall
into
it.
such a big deal for no reason because
Yeah.
like
Like I'm kind of with you because like it is important. Like as I'm reading all this stuff, but I've always been kind of surprised how many people go on a tirade about not getting that info.
Now, I will say this. To me, it is an important feature. I do not play my Xbox One because I utterly hate the user interface. I absolutely hate it. I hate playing my Xbox because I hate navigating it. That's why I prefer my PS4 to the Xbox One. Xbox 360, better than the PS3. User interface, hands
I
down.
agree. I agree.
Yeah.
So to me, it is an important thing. But you don't need to have your own like press conference about it. You don't need to make a video about it. Like completely unnecessary. It is cool to see what's gonna happen or what it's gonna look like. But like really, what's the care? I'm not even honestly, I'm not even gonna use most of those features.
I'm
Like,
not
Yeah,
either.
exactly.
I mean, the only thing that I am like, there are some cool things, but again, I'm not going to use them. I'm going to be honest about it. I'm not going to use them. I don't think most people use them. People will use
Yeah.
them, but
I think you could just like strung this along with other reveals of the PlayStation 5.
absolutely. My
Yeah.
only concern looking at this, watching this video, was the control. What are they called? The centers? The control. What are they called, Wilden? The little
It's called so they're called. It's the control center, but they call them cards.
cards. My concern with this user interface is that the cards are going to get too clustered up on that main screen, and it's going to be hard to find what I'm looking for. Because you can join games from there, you can join parties from there. I have a lot of friends on my PlayStation, and if they're all playing different cards, am I going to have to search through 30 different cards trying to find one particular person that I want to play with? Like, that is my concern. And that's the only concern that I really had.
Well, Nathan, while we have you here too, because we haven't really talked about it, so then how did you feel about this whole update and all that? Because people were on the rant, the tirade about this whole new update with the chat party and all that, and apparently, like, they can look and monitor people's chats and things of that sort. I mean, to me, I guess I get it, but again, it's like I rarely ever use chats on PlayStation at all, so I'm not that concerned about it for me, just because I never really use it. But how did you feel about all that?
Like, who cares? I mean,
Yeah.
like, honestly,
Yeah.
if I'm in a chat, I'm playing with my friends, and we're just gonna be, saying stupid stuff and whatnot. But is it really gonna affect us in any way of whether they can, like, it just, who cares? Play the game to have fun. Play with your friends to have fun. Who cares about an update? Like, you know what my concern with the update is? It takes too long to download. That's my concern with the update because they always take forever. Like, but that's just me. If you'd like, I can pull it up and go through it a little bit more thoroughly for you and tell you what I like and dislike about it. But I mean,
I'm in a similar boat. I never used all the stuff, and like it's just funny to me how everybody got such a rant and tirade about it. And it's like I guess I get it, but I'm like you. I don't really care about that stuff. I rarely ever use it anyway.
like, it's people make the smallest things the biggest. They make mountains out of molehills.
Yes.
And this is one of those things.
This is one of those things. I agree.
So Kendall, is this one of those like, oh, because we're quarantined COVID, we got nothing else better to talk about kind of things? Okay. No, I was saying, so is this one of those things where like nobody would be talking about it if we weren't COVID, and the times we're in, it'd be less of a big hassle, you think? Less of an uproar on it?
Yeah. Honestly, yes. Yes, 100%.
Like, I don't even see why are people upset about it? Let's break that down. Why are people upset about this update?
Wilden and I talk a lot about entitled gamers on this podcast, and I think that's your answer.
But what about the update are they angry about? Like, That's like what, like, obviously we were talking about Monster Hunter and their, the guns in the alternate world. Like, what about this update do they hate?
I guess just to be able to that their voice chats are gonna be recorded.
But that's not necessary. Like, it's not necessarily that it will be recorded, right?
So
It's the option to record it from somebody, or is it that Sony can record it and then hand it over to the FBI if they threaten to blow somebody up? Like,
no. So what it's saying here, according to PlayStation blog on their update of it, it says users are seeing notification about party safety and the voice chats and parties may be recorded. Voice chat recording for moderation is a feature that will be available on PS5. Enable users to record their voice chats on PS5 and submit them for moderation review. The pop-up you're seeing right now is to let you know that when you participate in a chat with a PS5 user, they may submit those recordings to the console. Okay.
right.
So they cleared it up a lot more.
Right. And because from what I was seeing, this is why I was a little confused, is because from what I was seeing is that it's people playing on the PS5 that are recording it. So, and then they would be the ones to submit it. So, like, if I was like, talking trash in a party chat and they recorded it and submitted it to Sony and I could be banned or suspended for it, there's a couple of things about this. One, why am I going to be in a party with a bunch of strangers to let my voice be recorded? Two, why is my friend going to record my voice and try to get me banned? Like, I think it's just something that is not a problem. You should not find yourself in a situation that this will be a problem. This is, in my opinion, for people that want to create content, that they can record this and add it in as an overlay or background noise on some video that they want to do. And that's my opinion. Like you said, if it wasn't for COVID and being quarantined, this probably wouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, it's a little silly, I think. A little silly. But the silliness and all that is coming to an end, folks. We're going to start wrapping up the end of the podcast. Thanks to Nathan for being a guest on here. I'm Willden, and then we have Kendall as well. So Nathan, thank you for joining us. Tell people again, where can people find you? Your stream, Twitter, socials, yeah.
All right. So I don't really have anything that I want to plug, but you asked, where can people find me? If people are really that interested in me, which I doubt they are, they can find me mostly on Twitch when I do stream at Fancyranson. Plain and simple, one word, Fancyranson. Nothing to really plug other than that, except for this podcast. So.
Oh, thanks. Kendall, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram at Lady Kendall. That's KENDOLL. Nothing too fancy.
Oh.
I know. It was as good when I did it earlier.
I know. I had to put mine in there, man. Well, then, where can we find you?
You can follow me on Twitch and Instagram at Willden1990. That is with 2 L's and an E. And on Twitter at just simply Willden. As well, guys, be sure if you like what you're hearing, subscribe to us. We're on a bunch of audio podcast services, including iHeartRadio and Stitcher and Spotify, and a little bit of YouTube here and there. We can also see our older episodes, which are also archived on our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe, hit the like button on everything that you see. Be sure to spread the word, and be sure to follow us as well.
Yeah, if you can, leave a review and share it with your friends. Plain and simple, Why not share what you like?
No, you took the words right out of my mouth.
And on that note, we're going to wrap this episode of the podcast up. We'll see you guys again next week. New news, maybe new guests. Who knows? We'll wait and see. But as I always like to say, just when you think it's done and over, then there's always something new and crazy happening in this world. And until then, we'll give you with our classic salutation sign off. Bye!
Bye!